tonight's topic, or the title of our session, is Smash Boom Best Food, Waste Prevention Hacks for Home and School. And our presenter tonight is Daniela Ochoa Gonzalez, and I believe she's joined with her daughter. And they will be presenting together.
Okay, well, thank you for everyone that signed up and actually made it tonight. We are really happy to be celebrating nationwide the Food Waste Prevention Week. And we tried doing this webinar a year ago, but it didn't record. So we're very happy that it's being recorded tonight.
Do you spell it E-I-K or E-E-K?
Week?
Yeah.
I think it's W-E-E-K. I am very happy that you're sharing today with me, Mayita. Because we do some of this stuff at home. So tonight, even if English is not my first language, Maya is gonna help me here. And we're gonna be able to share some of the things that we do at home to prevent waste. So thank you for joining. Because I just wanted to say, if you have friends or family that do speak Spanish as their primary language and they would like to join our other webinar on Thursday, we're gonna have the same webinar but in Spanish. So here we go, take it away. I'm gonna change the slides right here. We have a video for you. You wanna click it here? Click play.
Sweet pig. I'll travel the world.
Can we get strawberries?
No, honey.
Please.
Okay.
Have this ever happened to you? We're going to share about what we can do about this. As you see in this image around the video, food waste doesn't only happen at home, it's a gift of love in all the parts of the process, and the one that happens at home, we can prevent it. So let me see why it's not allowing me to switch the slides. 1 second. There we go. So in the United States, if all of the food that we have was a pie, can you all hear me? See? How much? Gracias. How much do you think it's thrown out, Maya? How much do you think? How many slides? I guess
All of them.
if all of the pie is all the food that we have in the US, how much do you think we throw away? 1 slide, half of the pie, 2 slides, or 4 slides?
4.
4.
Because there's another 4 left.
Yeah, so this is an image to amplify that. It's made by Food Shift. Oh, and by the way, the other video was made by NRDC. And so we'll be sharing some of those resources. Right here in Montgomery County, where we live and where this school district is located, every year, the Department of Environment estimates that there is more than 124 tons of food wasted every single year. How much do you think that is, Maya? How many elephants? How many people?
77 every day.
77 elephants. Can you imagine? Can you even picture one elephant? Is it light or is it heavy? Is it heavier than Daddy or is it lighter?
Heavier.
It's heavy. So 77 elephants is a lot of food waste. And sadly, this is food that other people could eat because in America, as we saw in these slides, a lot of it gets wasted and a lot of people have food. So we named our webinar Smash Boom Best. Can you explain them what this is, Smash Boom Best?
It's a podcast when two people have opinions, and then there's different rounds that like you try to make it funny, good, that the judge likes it, and the judge that, so like each round the judge gives points to each side, but the one with the more points wins.
Yeah, so it's a podcast about...
And it always isn't about food.
No, but it's about debating, right? And having points when we speak in favor of an idea. So some of our favorites are like what? Salt versus sweet, or unicorns.
It's salt versus sugar.
Sugar, I'm sorry. Or unicorns versus Jedis.
They don't do that. That's a different type.
Mermaids
Smash
versus... Anyway, so they had one episode that was specifically about soups versus sandwiches. These are two items that were originally, historically built based on leftovers of food. And so they also speak about food waste. And that's when it occurred to me to have the idea to make this part of our program today, right? We invited our friends to check out this episode of, can you say, Smash
Boom Best.
Smash Boom Best.
SBB.
Yes, muy bien. Now, how about our schools? This is a photo of, there's are 3 photos of some of the leftovers of our...
Oh, that's one. No,
our elementary. I put a baby elephant there to kind of reflect on the fact that every single school on average is wasting something in between 150 pounds. Our school was 163 pounds that day, up to 250 pounds of food every single day. And that's a lot of food. It's as much as a baby elephant weight. And so just to put it in some terminology that you guys all can think about this. Capiche?
The baby elephant is dirty. Why do you put a dirty picture?
No, he's not really dirty. He's having fun. Well, I have a friend called Jonathan Bloom that helps calculate the amount of food that an American family wastes. And originally this number was $1,500. But with inflation and with all the increase in prices, this has raised to up to $2,500 a year or even more. So I just wanted to tell you that these are not numbers that I'm just like pulling out of a hat. They're calculated by the USDA Economic Research Service. And the latest numbers have not been officially published, but they're definitely more than $2,000. So if you think about this, families in this heck of the woods tend to waste even more food than the average. That is why it's so important. Let me tell you something, Majita. What can you buy with $2,000?
Dolls.
Dolls? Okay, we could even buy 4 airplane tickets. There is a lot of things that a family can do with the money that they will save if they apply some of our hacks, correct?
Yeah.
And now, last but not least, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this presentation, I want to show you this waste food scale. Have you seen it before? It looks like a half of watermelon. And this is to say that the best thing that we could possibly do with food is actually eating it. So eating it allows our body to get nourished by all of those vitamins and minerals and elements that the food is supposed to give us. And so that's the best thing that we can do. And that's the reason why we're making this webinar. But I want to mention that there are other things that are currently happening with your food, and some are better than others. So if you have chickens at your home, or you have a dog, or you have pets that you can feed them some of your food scraps in a safely manner, that's also already better than throwing it away. And of course, composting, for which we have made webinars here in the Parent to Go Academy. And also we have a link in the chat. I'm not sure if Oscar can share the link with our friends, so
Definitely.
that you know. Muchas gracias. There is a link for a webinar that we have in English and Spanish in partnership with the Institute of Local and Self-Reliance that offers a step-by-step of how to do compost at home. So that's for some of you that may be interested in that later on. Okay, Mayita, ya regresamos. Can you please read this title?
Dun, dun, dun.
Our just 1 second. Our 8 favorite hacks that we're gonna share today are divided in 2 groups, like the Smash Boom Best. One group is called.
What do we have here?
What do we have here? What do we have here? And the second group is called.
What are we going to do?
What are we gonna do? Or what are we going to? I guess I wrote it incorrectly, didn't I? What are we gonna do? Okay, so what are we going to do? Right?
Yeah.
Put the right way in the chat, por favor, so I can learn more English. Okay, so for what do we have here? We have 4 main points. Do you want to go to point number 1? Can you read it, por favor? Okay. Okay, inclusive list and menu. Inclusive list means that the most important thing before planning a weekly menu, which is a very important step, is to have a list of the things that you already have and that you're not really using. And because we have a laptop, I'll show you a little bit around. Maybe we'll take a little tour. But I just showed you this list. Is a very simple list that my daughter and my son made with me. And so before going shopping this weekend, I make them write, what are some things that are on the back of the pantry that we haven't used? And so here it says couscous, cornmeal, lentils, farro, pistachios, dark chocolate, salsa pasilla, and eggplant. And so based on this, I try to create a menu for the week that includes some of these items. Let me see if anybody else has a comment in the chat. I don't see a comment, but let me try to go back. So that's number 1. So when we do that, we plan for breakfast. Let me show you. And to be honest with you, Maya, can you please come back? These are some of the things that we have during the week. Just come a little bit more down because that way they can see you. What do we normally have for breakfast on Mondays?
Smoothies that I do not like sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, we can talk about the smoothies later, but for the kids' routine, we tend to have the same things
Why do we
depending
put
the day of the
ginger in
week.
it?
Yeah, today wasn't good, right?
It was fine. Can I have some more?
Yes, after the webinar. Wait, Maya, please focus. Okay. So the second thing that we have normally on Tuesdays is bagels. On Wednesdays is oatmeal. And then on Thursdays, we have mystery breakfast, which is whatever the leftovers are that we can turn into breakfast. And then Fridays is the day that milk gets here. And so we have cereal most of Fridays. And then Saturdays, we try to do something special. So this Saturday, we're going to be doing our Mexican recipe, chilaquiles, better known as chilaquiles. Chilaquiles, which is also a meal made on leftover corn chips, tortillas, that is very popular in Mexico for weekends weekend breakfast. So that's for breakfast. So what I do, and I located the computer here so you can see, we normally don't have it this big. We just have one page on top of the fridge, and then whatever is it that we're having to communicate, like if my husband gets up earlier than me or something, is that we move this according to the day of the week. But Mondays is always smoothie, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute, and so forth. So this is the breakfast. Now, for the lunch, what we try to do is figure out what is it that the school is offering, because Montgomery County Public Schools have a super well organized schedule in which they have, can you see the chat? I'm gonna remove the chat so it's not on the way.
Yes.
Okay, gracias. Here's what happens with the lunch menu of the schools. They publish it online. Okay, muévete por favor, slides. Okay, ahí. So if you go to the website that Oscar is going to put on the chat, you can see that all throughout our school district, the breakfast, the lunch is the same every single day that is in this calendar, for example, for this month. So we try to let the kids know what the, can you explain this so that it's not just me talking?
So she only lets us choose one day of the week when we get to buy. The other days we have to bring lunch from home.
So
and if we like the food for the day, we get to choose that day, but only once.
so once a week they get to eat the lunch from the school. And so that's why the other days of the week we just write down some of the stuff that we can do. So for example, this week they didn't had school on Monday, but we bailed this in a democracy. So I asked the kids, what do you like to eat this week? And so Martin always has PB&J, and Maya has it modified. How do you like your PB&J, Maya?
The bread that you know I like,
Mhm.
the ghost bread. I don't know what else to call it. And only the jelly.
Only the jelly. She doesn't like
Peanut butter. Blech.
she doesn't like the peanut butter. But anyway, we try to match it up with some peppers because that's what we have on the fridge this week. So, you know, like something that is the main thing, and then some veggies and then a little fruit. But then we have other options. So today for lunch, what did you have for lunch? You took lunch from home because you didn't like the options from the school today. Can you please stop drinking and tell us what you had for lunch today? From
Taquitos.
taquitos. The taquitos are very easy to do. And so we made them some taquitos on the go. And then they take them on these lunch boxes, which I'm not trying to make a commercial because you can take whatever lunchbox you want. But these ones we love, they're Planet Box, because these ones, Martin's, for example, he hasn't washed his. But I can exactly see what they liked or didn't like based on what they eat, you know, how they bring it to the house. And then we can have a conversation and they can wash them when they get home. So that's for the lunches. And then we can cross over what they have. And then for dinner, we include some of those items that I mentioned. One second, look, from the list of what was already available at home. And then we write those items on top, and then on the bottom, we write the specific ingredients that we know that we don't have at home, so that we only go buy those ingredients. So for example, for the orange chicken, we just needed the broccoli. For the pasta, we needed cilantro and tuna and so forth. Okay, bueno, ahí está. That's the point. Number 2, I think. Number 1, the list and the menu. So we'll check what's on the pantry, on the fridge, on the freezer. We make the list. We give the children a chance to vote. I already mentioned that. And then another important aspect when we go shopping for the week is what's in season, to kind of go with the flow of the seasons. And that help us buy stuff that is more local. When we have opportunity, we join a CSA, a community support agriculture. And if not, we can go to a farmer's market or to the closest supermarket. What we try to do is another thing to reduce food waste is to also reduce plastic and properly storage things, but we personally try to avoid plastic as well. Okay, punto número 2. Can you join us? What's number 2?
Double gym.
Double jump. And double jump.
That says gym.
Gym.
That
Jump.
says gym.
That says gym. Double gym or double jump? Jumpy, jummy. There are a couple of things that already exist in all types of cuisines around the world where things are reutilized. For example,
Wait, sorry, that says yum.
Asian fried rice. It's made with leftovers. Paella in Spain is made with leftovers. So can you do at home with the leftovers that you have for little things like salads, soups, stir fries, pasta. Oh, because I forgot to mention during the dinner schedule, we also have one day that is leftovers during the night. So that's when we kind of have a little bit more time to mix and match what we have left. Mi amor, if you serve your we cannot listen. Vale. One tip that we like to share for that is that when we don't know what to do, we have a couple of items in the fridge that we are not sure how to combine, especially for for Spanish YouTubers. I like to type the ingredients and then see what comes out on the internet of interesting recipes. So if I have, like in this case, eggplant and a little bit left over of, I don't know, Parmesan cheese or something like that, I type the ingredients and then new recipes that I would otherwise not come up with.
Parmesan we don't consider a leftover, mommy.
Well, that's also true. But another thing that it's important in terms of that's not very educated for you to continue doing that. Can you
I'll
please
go
stop?
over here.
In our family, we are 4 members of the family, and so we try to have one of the items at night to kind of be favored by that person, and that person can also lead that dinner that day. If it's the kids, we'll help them a little bit. And another thing to consider is Friday pizza. And if we have games or activities that are after school that we're not going to be eating at home, or that we can take a sandwich on the go. Just so you know, this is going to be recorded. Can you continue?
3, now freeze.
What do we have here now, freeze? You want to open the freezer and the fridge and we'll give them a little tour? So now is the time to share about the Smoothie Mondays. Smoothie Mondays are made with this little bag where I collect what they didn't want to eat, or they run away after breakfast in school and they didn't have time to finish. So I have a bag of collection, or if they cut an apple and they leave a piece, you know, or even the core of the apple, the leaves of the strawberry, you name it. I use that to mix it on the blender. And I have a little trick. I mix it with spinach, and that way they get some of their greens in their smoothie. And also, if I need a little sweet, I add some concentrated orange juice, which I also love because once they're over, I can let them sit a little bit on the water. And that way we can separate the plastic from the paper, and basically there is not a container. One part goes to the compost and the other one goes to the recycling. So that's for Smoothie Mondays. During the summer, we also have summer pops, which is basically the same, but we put it on some freezer containers, and that way we save some money.
We don't always do it, mommy.
Not always.
Last time it turned out horrible, so that's why we don't do it anymore.
What, the pops?
Yeah, we don't do it.
Well, we don't do it right now because it's winter, but we can do. We
It's
have
not winter, spring.
we have yeah, right. But we have done it every summer. Sometimes you don't notice that we have done it. I forgot to show one other item. In addition of the bag for veggies, I mean for fruit, we also have a bag of veggies. So in this bag, you can see probably we have the peels of onions and carrots.
Wait, you put onions in our smoothie?
No, this one's not for the smoothies. This one is for the broth. So we can make some broth once it's full. I make some veggie broth that we use for rice or for chicken soup. ¿No sabías? So this is one of my other tricks to reduce food waste and also to save some good bucks, but it makes me feel good to make use of all the nutrients of all of those pieces of food scraps that are otherwise underutilized. And you know what? A lot of chefs also do this trick. Maya, do you want to turn to the next slide?
4. Is it good enough?
Yes, when you have an item in your face, you're like, what do we have here? Is it gonna make me sick or not? How am I gonna cook this? Or should I chop the part that doesn't look great and eat the rest? Whenever you are in doubt, you can check one of these resources, which are great. I highly recommend them. My friend Rachel is the one that created Eat or Toss, which is a whole encyclopedia that has different items, mostly of vegetables that you can search there, and then you have very specific photos and information about them. She worked for the National Geographic, so it's a great resource. And the other one is savethefood.com, where you can also find fun recipes or other advices on this regard. Last but not least, I think it's the government of Australia that put out a video called Brian, which really explains very clearly and in simple terms for everybody, what are the food safety guidelines that everybody should follow to make sure that they don't get sick when they are defrosting, defreezing, when they're thawing proteins, or when they're buying protein so that they will not get sick, you know, to avoid salmonella and other types of diseases that tend to be living in protein when it's too hot, or when it's in a medium area. So what we do there is to try to avoid that food is hotter than 41 between, so if it's gonna be cold, it has to be lower than 41 degrees Fahrenheit. And if it's served hot, it has to be hotter than 135. You can watch the video because mi amigo Oscar is going to put the video of Brian on the chat. Okay, and this resource I learned last year in the Food Waste Prevention Week from Mana Food Center, which has great resources on their website as well for food safety guidelines. And they also have a webinar, so I recommend you check them out, Mana Food Center. Okay, aquí tenemos unas fotos. These are some pictures of their schools, kids' lunches that I just wanted to share with you.
I have those by never.
Yeah, but that's from somebody else. Do you see that's a different lunchbox? I just wanted to share that your lunchbox doesn't need to be expensive to be successful. Some people prefer to buy different lunchboxes that are more affordable, like this one on the left, because they have them stack up on their fridge so that when the kids need a snack, or they prepare all the ones on the week in advance, really depends on your family lifestyle, how you do it. But what I have found very helpful for these lunch boxes, if you do bring lunch to school, is that there can be some level of accountability with your kids. So when they come back, they'll let you know what they like, they didn't like, and to have a conversation. Here at home, we try to make them responsible to wash their own lunchbox too. It doesn't always work, but for the most part, it's an incentive before they can do another activity that they need to come. And what do you do first when you get home? You
Wash my hands.
And also remove your shoes in different order. Remove your shoes, wash your hands, and we talk about the lunchbox and we wash the lunchbox. Okay, those were the first 4. So it seems like we're in a good timing. We can make a stop here if anybody wants to give any comments or have any questions so far. Amigos,
Daniela,
amigas.
do you think we can take questions at the end so that we can just finish the recording and then we'll turn off the recording?
Sure, absolutely. That's a good idea. So let's go with the second half of our presentation. If you like it, show some love in the chat. Show some love in the chat. Okay, can you please, Maya,
That was not.
read the second part? What is the second
What
question?
are we going to do?
So the first question was,
What are we going?
no, think with me. What was the first question? What do we have here? Isn't that what they say in the cartoons?
Really don't know.
They say, what do we have here? Because we look
No.
at what do we have in the fridge and what we're gonna eat. That's the
I
first
mean,
part.
they don't do that. They go like, well. Who do we have here?
Oh, it's who?
Yeah.
It's not
Not
what.
what. No.
I made a modification then. The second
But
question.
sometimes the bad guys say, well. What do we have here?
Yes, I remember seeing that in cartoons. I'm trying to make a connection on our neurons to what I'm trying to help, share with you all today. So that was the first half. The second one is, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do when? That's another song
Stop
that you guys do.
dancing.
Okay, so I'll stop. I'll be very serious now. Point number 5. Can you please read point number 5?
Menu flex.
Menu flex.
Goodbye.
Okay, menu flex. I'll show you, and I think I already mentioned this, but when I started in my journey as a mother to try to plan menus, I first didn't have a menu, and then I had this for lunch, this for dinner, like very stiffy, and that didn't work for a family. Very soon I realized that it's only about, at least for our family, about having the enough food for 1 week, and then kind of playing it by ear and letting people in the house or whatever the routine is, if you slept well that night or not, or if somebody had a boo-boo or not, let that dictate what is it that you're gonna cook that day. So what we actually cook on that or prepare for one day, then we cross it over and then we move on. So we might end up doing all the ones that are on this side first, and then the ones at the beginning at the end of the week. It doesn't matter. So this is what I mean by menu flexibility. And also, as I mentioned, we have a calendar right there, you can see. So this one is this one needs to go to April, by the way, because we all just went on vacation. But then I fill it up with the activities of the month, like the games and the races and whatnot, with the school rehearsals, whatever is going on, the dentist appointments. And then that also influences what the menu ends up looking like. Another thing that I do that is very practical for us is that we reuse the papers from the school, the Eureka curriculum. I just fold them all here. And that way we reuse the paper that comes from the school, which is very profuse and generous, the amount of paper that gets here. That is the menus. The next one is number 6. Can you please read it, number 6? Ya vamos en el 6. Okay. ¿Te lastimaste? Location. That's what people that sell houses say. The real estaters, they say, location. It's all about location. You know why? No? Okay, we're gonna find out in a minute. Number 7, the temperature safety guidelines that I just mentioned. Things need to be colder than 41. We actually have little thermometers in the fridge for that. And then the last one is, I call the tadakimasu. So here we go. Let's see if I can flip the slide. So for menu flex, I already talked about all of these points. The most important point that I want to make is that when the lunchbox comes back with something that is not eaten by the kids, I really ask them why, and we kind of reflect on that. At some point in life, I even took pictures of the stuff. During the month around Earth Day, I joined another group here some years that it's called Recycler Leaders, and then we make a challenge about really being nitty gritty about what it is and measuring it by cups and stuff. But to be honest, that's been difficult throughout the whole year. So it's better for us in regular basis to just have a conversation. Why was this not eaten? And then try to change the item so that we put things on their lunchbox that they actually like. And then another thing that has worked really well for us is to prepare food together. And one thing that helped us with that was a service. Remember when we had this service called Hello Fresh? You like that? See? When Maya was learning to read, and especially, we hired this service. Oh, I'm sorry, Maya. We're gonna persevere here, okay? A few more minutes. See, if your kids are getting tired as well, they're welcome to take a stretch because attention span can be difficult. So let me just go very quickly with location and location and location. The lunchbox, it's an important point that I wanted to make. In our pantry, there is, in our kitchen, there are little hooks that we have by the sink where they hang out their lunchboxes. And so that way we kind of have a system. Now about the fridge, I don't know if Oscar can please share the link to this fridge image. Is from the FDA. I think that it helps a lot to organize your fridge this way. I'm going to share our fridge in a minute so that you can see how it matches, okay? Give me a second. So for our fridge, the milk, I learned through this type of webinars that needs to be in the center and not on the top, because here is where it's the coldest. We also have that typical tray. I'm not sure if you can see that it says enjoy first, so that we know that we need to eat some of the stuff that is here before we eat other stuff. So this is, for example, parts of some leftovers that I ate today. The kids undoubtedly end up in McDonald's, so we got that milk. And then for the leftover vegetables, I do some fruit, some veggie soups. And then my husband even saves the water of the pasta. I'm not sure what he does with this, but he does save it. And there you go. For the meat, we always make sure that it's on a bowl so that it doesn't leak. And then for some stews, I have to be honest, we're super lazy. Sometimes we just put the whole pan with the lid on it, so that when we have to reheat it, we don't have to change it from one place to the other. We make sure that the condiments are always on the wall so that they don't get so that food that needs to be colder is not on the wall. And then we separate the vegetables from the fruits. But I wanted to show you that in Harry's Theater today, I found these tomatoes that I really need to cook into a pasta tonight. They were $1 because they are, ready to be eaten soon. So those type of things are the ones that really help us save on food waste, and also help our community collectively to save on food waste, because not everybody will like those tomatoes, right? Okay, bon appetit over there. We're gonna continue here. I wanted to mention this quickly about locations. Oh, the snacks. Can you please give me a second so I can show them? When they're hungry and they come from home, I have the possibility to give them the snacks and have them like access ready, so that it's easier and they are, fresh and crispy. So that's another thing. My fifth grader doesn't ask me anymore for snacks. He just comes and grabs stuff. So I make sure that there is some healthy options there that also need to be eaten as well. I mentioned this about the toxic exposure from incinerator because I am part of this group in the county that works on these issues. And I recently learned that when you put food on your trash, in this county goes to the incinerator, and that actually takes away more energy for the county. Like we lose energy by just getting rid of this organic waste. Because it doesn't produce any energy because of all the humidity that food has. It's making it like a loss of energy. It's not a good business even. But in addition to that, all of our waste generates a lot of issues that affect our children, because it's being taken to the incinerator. So if you are interested about where you are located versus where the incinerator is located, I recommend that you join our group. There is a group, I don't think I have the slide here, it might be gone, but there is a group in the county called Zero Waste Montgomery County, where people get organized to learn about these topics and to advocate for better ways to deal with our trash. And the best possible way that we can do to deal with it is not generated in the first place. So that's why we're having this webinar today. Last but not least, I think it's all about gratitude. And I love this phrase in Japanese that we often use before eating. Can you please read this? Ita
Dakamisu.
itadakimasu. ¿Cómo decimos antes de cenar? Itadakimasu. We don't even speak Japanese, but this word speaks fondly to me because in Japanese, this phrase translates to humbly received. It's often said before eating a meal, and the phrase is used for showing gratitude and respect for everyone and everyone that is part of a meal. So if you remember that video that I mentioned about the strawberries, the one that the NRDC made, all of those farmers and those nutrients and the energy from the sun that needed to be there so that we could have that food in our plates. It's very important that we are grateful. And I feel like if kids learn to be more grateful of the food system that allows them to be nourished, then less food will be wasted. And it's just a part of the puzzle, really. And so to help them understand what role all of the other actors and stakeholders play on every single meal that they get to receive, I invite you to explore around in the area where you live, whether it is a farm that may be nearby or a landfill, and even better, a compost facility. So here in Montgomery County, we have a tour once a year that is organized by the Office of Agriculture. The Montgomery County Farm Tour tends to be during the month of July. And it's a beautiful event where families have a great time visiting and exploring. And that way they can see where vegetables come from. Sometimes we don't look at the labels, but vegetables that we may buy in the supermarket have to come sometimes even from New Zealand. So considering the food miles of your food is also important. And if you are going to import, like, I'm not trying to put any guilt trip on anyone. I have right here an avocado that comes from Mexico, like I come from. But when I have an avocado, I make sure that I compost the pit and that we eat it all very thoroughly. And that way, I feel better about it. And so organic waste, that is the peels and the scraps that we cannot necessarily take the most advantage at home. If you don't compost, you can at least send them to one of these facilities, and it can become really good soil for other farms that can bring food to your table. This is a reminder about that webinar that I mentioned. Oscar, I'm not sure if you were able to put that link. There is a webinar that is for free, and it's split in 5-minute segments because of attention span, as I was mentioning earlier. So it's in English and in Spanish. No, but you can bring our compost. It's exactly like our compost bin. I'll bring it. We have a compost bin here at home, just like that one. And that's a photo of our friend Brenda's compost bin. Just to show that, even if you're good at taking the most advantage of food, you always have some food left over. Although our compost bin will never have these strawberry tops because we do add those in our smoothie. There are different types of compost systems that you can have at home. And for that, you can check the resources that the Institute of Local Self-Reliance has available. Yeah, we have the one with the pallets, right?
The boxes.
The boxes.
Mundo Verde tiene este.
Mundo Verde tiene este, that's right.
We have this one too.
Yeah, we have.
We used to have this one in DC.
We have a few of these systems.
We used to have this one in DC. We never.
Because we love compost. This is it from us. If you would like to support our promotions of this week for the Food Waste Prevention Week, please check out our Instagram. I'm trying to mindfully put more posts about food waste prevention, and I love for you to follow our work there, as well as other webinars that are available this week. If you check the general website for the Food Waste Prevention Week, you will see that there are people all across the country doing different kinds of webinars. And last but not least, if you are in the school district and you would like to join the group of parents that are trying to help our schools be more sustainable, this is one of the subcommittees for the MCCPTA. So please contact Joanna or Sebastian, who lead our committee. Okay? Okay, I'll stop there so that you can stop the recording. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope that you get to save significantly and have fun with your family.